name is Courtney Blake, and I'm the president of the Canadian Nursing Students Association. I am also a fourth-year nursing student at North Island College on Vancouver Island in BC. So I have been asked today to talk with you a little bit about the state of nursing in Canada right now as a part of the Nursing the Future Speaker Series. Before I begin, I wanted to do a little bit of a land acknowledgement. I'm coming to you from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Comox First Nation, the Coast Salish, and the Pentlatch people. It's really important that we do land acknowledgements. The connection between Indigenous people and the land is so critical to their health and their well-being, and when settlers came, we disconnected that, we severed that connection. So when we acknowledge the lands that we're on, we acknowledge that severance happened and the impact that that's had. And it's really important that we continue that conversation and acknowledge that there were people here before settlers came, and they had their own way of life, they had their own way of doing things, and we can only move forward in a positive way by reconnecting people to the land that they have been disconnected from. So a little bit about what I'm going to talk about in this presentation. I'm going to talk about CNSA, who we are and what we do, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the broader things that are affecting nursing right now. I could talk about public health crises like COVID and the opioid epidemic. I could talk about the problems in long-term care. There are plenty of them. I could talk about MAID. I could talk about marijuana. But I really am not the experts in those fields. I really don't feel like I'm qualified to comment on those. They're all really, really important. They're all critical to nursing right now. Nurses are leading change in those fields, in those areas, which is super important and amazing, and I want to create space to acknowledge that, but I also want to acknowledge that I'm not the authority who can speak on those. I do want to speak a little bit on what CNSA advocates with those issues and how they impact nursing from a broader perspective. And then I just want to end off by talking a little bit about young nurses, student nurses, new nurses, and what our legacy is going to be and what our future is going to look like, hopefully. So what is the Canadian Nursing Students Association? We are a national association. We represent 30,000 nursing students across Canada. We represent registered nurses, nursing students, practical nursing students, and psychiatric nursing students. We give a voice to nursing students. We're a little bit different than what a union is, and we certainly are not like a college in any regulatory body. We give students a platform to talk about issues of social justice, issues that are important to nursing students, to connect with our national and provincial and local partners, and foster professionalism within nursing students. So CNSA supports nursing students in many different ways. We have plenty of leadership opportunities. CNSA has a working board structure, which means we have a large board. We have 3 staff members. The rest of it is entirely led by nursing students for nursing students, which is really amazing. We get to learn a lot about what it means to be on a board of directors, what it means to run an organization, and we really get to develop those leadership skills and opportunities through being on the board. And not just that, but we also have our official delegates and associate delegates in each chapter member. And students get to develop leadership opportunities by taking on a bit more responsibility in their own schools and their own chapters. We also do a lot of scholarships and awards. So we do scholarships and bursaries through CNSA. We do a lot of travel awards. We do awards in different areas. Earlier this year, we did an emergency bursary for students affected by COVID-19. We also partner with the Canadian Nurses Foundation, CNF, and we give them money and they distribute it to nursing students. So lots of ways that we support students in that way financially. And then with professional development, so we do one national conference a year and then 2 to 3 regional conferences a year, so up to 3 to 4 conferences a year. And at these conferences, we have speakers who come in and talk about all sorts of revolutionary things that are going on in nursing right now. A lot of really groundbreaking things that are going on, and we also give students the opportunity to network with each other and to build relationships with each other. And you never realize how much you have in common with nursing students until you're sitting down with one from the other side of the country and you're talking about something and you have the same issues that are going on. And that really gives students the opportunity to connect with each other and realize, that we're not alone. We're doing this together, even if, we're separated by thousands of kilometers, and we all have equal opportunities to impact the nursing profession in our own different ways. And we have the capacity to build those relationships with each other that are going to benefit us for many, many years to come. So I want to talk a little bit about social inequality, because this is a huge, huge, huge impactor on health. Health reflects society. So what's going on in our society in terms of equity and distribution of resources directly reflects in health. And the World Health Organization has tons of literature out on this. Canada, with the Ottawa Charter, long time ago was coming out talking about this. The income level that someone has, it's like a graded scale. The more up until a certain point, the higher class you are, the more income you have, the healthier you are, to a certain point. And that just, it really goes to show that the inequitable distribution of resources, it's really a huge problem in our healthcare system right now. Right now, we are living in a world where the distribution of wealth is that gap is wider than it's been in hundreds of years. And you see it all across the globe in different contexts. You can have one neighborhood that is 2 kilometers away from another neighborhood, and they're in the same town, but they have drastically different health outcomes because of the class and the way that community is situated in their social determinants of health. We spend a lot of money in acute care, which is really, really important. We need that acute care when we're sick, but we don't invest in the before or the after. We put all of our marbles in hospitals and acute cares, and we neglect that upstream approach. We don't prevent things, we just treat them. We just treat symptoms. We're not going to the root of the problem, and the root of the problem is poverty. The root of the problem is discrimination. The root of the problem is classism, it's ageism, it's misogyny, it's racism. It's all of these systemic, societal ways that people are discriminated against has such a huge impact on nursing and health. If you haven't had a chance to, I would strongly recommend that you read the In Plain Sight report that just came out a couple weeks ago from the BC government. It was a report done in BC hospitals after allegations of ER staff playing the Price is Right about blood alcohol levels on Indigenous folks when they come into the ER. The report found that those allegations were not true. However, in the 6 months that these folks were investigating this problem, they found widespread systemic racism throughout every facet of the healthcare system. And this report, it's heavy, it's long, it's emotional, it's got a lot of really complex things that it talks about, but it's really important. It's so important that we talk about it. It's so important that we read a bit about it and that we know about it, because these problems have existed for a long time and they haven't been addressed. They haven't been talked about. Oh, well, that's just some drunk Indian who's sitting in a ER. We're just going to let him sleep it off in 36 hours. Oh, he's dead because he was actually having a stroke. That actually happened, Brian Sinclair. It's horrible what's happening in our hospitals right now. We can't treat it. We can't fix it unless we know what's going on. And we can't expect to improve the health of our society if we're not addressing these systemic problems. Climate change. There is no economy when the world is dead. There's no health when the world is dead. The impact that climate change is going to have is already having on the health of our community is so huge, so broad. I can't even put in words how significant this problem is. Clean drinking water. That's a human right. There are thousands upon thousands of people in Canada right now who do not have access to clean drinking water. And that's such a huge part of health. How can you wash your hands in the middle of a pandemic with no clean water? You can't. How can you eat right and exercise and do all these things when you don't have access to clean water? Such a basic human need. And climate change plays a huge role in that. Pollution plays a huge role in that. Air quality is also something that's really drastically impacted by climate change. My community here is one of the worst communities in Canada in terms of air pollution because of the per capita use of wood burning stoves. And it's a really complex issue because not freezing to death is really important, but breathing is also really important. And these are two life necessities that you have to have. You can't, you need warmth or else you'll die of hypothermia, not hyper. And you need air to breathe. So how do we move forward in addressing these pollutants in a positive way that is empowering and is not going to put people in poverty, that is going to help clean the air? How are we going to invest in these solutions from a health systems perspective? Because the poor air quality hugely impacts the health of a population. And if you just even focus on the lungs, asthma, COPD, lung cancer, that's just one organ. And it has a huge impact. So young folks, student nurses, new grads, we are at a really pivotal point in time right now. I was watching a film on Netflix. It's called Giving Voice, I believe. It's about a theater competition in the States that honors a Black playwright who passed away, and it is a competition for students who essentially they do monologues from this gentleman's plays, his various plays. And in this film, there was a student who in his room on his wall had a piece of paper that said, "Fearless revolutionary optimism." And I can't think of a better way to describe what happens when young folks find a cause that they believe in and dive into it. We're at a point in our lives where some people would call it naive, but we are internally optimistic. We believe in a future that can change. We believe in a positive future. I believe in a future where there is no systemic racism. I believe in a future where we entirely sustained on sustainable energy. I believe in a future where Indigenous folks have complete self-sovereignty and their connection to the land is not only reestablished, but is shared with everyone else. That connection to land, the importance of that in ourselves and our communities. That optimism, that belief, and that willingness to do what it takes to get there is something that I so admire in young folks. And this is not just exclusive to nursing. You see it in young leaders all throughout the world. Malala, Greta Thunberg, there's Autumn Peltier. There's so many young folks who find a cause, grab onto it, grab the bull by the horns, and just go for it. And this is not exclusive to the current young folks right now. This is a phenomenon that happens throughout the ages. Thinking about our parents and our grandparents and when they were young folks. In the 1960s, we had the civil rights movement. We had bra burnings and the feminist movement. We had Stonewall and gay pride. We had disability rights that were advocated for. It's all these movements were led and supported by young folks, and the folks who were really important with that and pivotal with that. There are mentors right now. They're helping us out, and take advantage of that. Find the mentors that you can and hold on to them and learn as much as you can from them, and don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop asking questions. Because when you stop asking questions, when you start assuming things are going to stay the way they are, if you assume that your actions aren't going to make a difference, then they're not. Nothing's going to change. We're going to fall back in the same habits and the same routines. And that's not what we want. We want revolutionary change. We want the world to be a better place, and we can do it if we grab that bull by the horn and we dive in and we find things that we're passionate about and just don't let go and keep going. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what my generation is going to accomplish. I'm so excited to see what the generation behind me is going to accomplish. I'm excited for the partnerships that we're going to develop with folks all around the world and all around in Canada. Nursing it's on the right track, and we can change the track that we're on. Nurses can do that. We have the capacity, we have the knowledge, we have the drive to do it. We can create a society where folks, their health disparities can't be separated by their postal code. We can help create a society where there's just as much investment in health promotion as there is in acute care. We can create a society where wealth inequalities don't exist anymore or minimally exist. We can do that if we continue on, if we hold on to that fearless revolutionary optimism. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you are excited by anything that I've said, if you really want to get involved with CNSA, you can check us out. Our website is www.cnsa.ca. We also have Twitter, we have Instagram, and we have Facebook. So follow us on our social media, and don't be afraid to get in touch. If you are a nursing student, check out your nursing school. We have chapters all over Canada. And if your school isn't a chapter, become one. We're more than happy. We're so happy to have new chapter members, and we're so happy to work with nursing students and provide these opportunities. So again, thank you so much for listening to me, and happy holidays. Stay safe, stay calm, and take care of yourselves. Thanks.